What if your greatest strength as a leader wasn't about how much you knew, but how deeply you connected? Imagine a leadership approach that feels effortless, authentic, and inspiring, not just for those you lead, but for yourself. Stay tuned to hear how Michelle Howe describes how your connection skills are your superpower. Welcome to Helping Healers Succeed. This is for you if you felt the call to heal, to make a real difference in people's lives, but you also know that turning your gift into a thriving, sustainable career can feel overwhelming. You're listening to Dr. Anastasia Chopelas, a physicist turned energy healer, your guide with tips, stories, and interviews for building and growing a successful healing practice with confidence and ease, using practical strategies, science-based insights, and inspiration to help you increase your impact and income without burning out. Be sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of the upcoming programs in store for you. Welcome back. I'm thrilled to have a truly special guest and great friend, Michelle Howe. Michelle is the founder of Empath Evolution as the creator of the Authenticity Factor, a unique approach that integrates empathy with vision to create breakthrough results. She's here today to share her wisdom on how you can lead with heart, embrace authenticity, and step into a new era of leadership. Michelle, welcome to the show. I'm really excited to have you share your wisdom with us.
Thank you, Anastasia. It's great to be here. Yes.
So let's start with a foundation, empathy. You see it as a core leadership skill, but also something much deeper. How do you see empathy?
Oof. Empathy, right? Empathy is about feeling. Empathy is about tuning into feeling. And when you do that, you can see what's happening with yourself and with other people. You can see deeper into the realities around you than what appearances or what words are being spoken to you. It's that ability to tune in for yourself, and then to tune into what is going on with other people, because it's beyond appearances, beyond words is empathy.
Yeah, it's like this unspoken thing that happens between two people. At least my experience is that when you meet somebody, you already have assessed them in the first millisecond or two, and you don't even know why. And then afterwards, you figure it out.
Well, it is an interesting dynamic, I have to say, because sometimes it is that quick and you don't always know why you feel or don't feel what you feel towards a person. And that probably is a stumbling block for many of us. I know for myself at times, I'm just like, I have no idea why, but I heard this person's voice. All I had to do was hear the voice. I didn't even see the person. And immediately it's a no. Where is that coming from? And I've dove in deep into why so many different times. And there's so many rabbit holes that I've gone down just to try to understand what this. It's a natural gift. Some of us have it in spades, and other ones of us don't have very much of it. Some have none of it. So,
I just recently had a reaction to someone that another coach was telling me what an awesome woman this is, and on and on. And every time I heard her voice, it was like, oh, I can't deal with it. And I try to push it down, but that's actually a bad idea.
well, it's there for a reason, right? The question is, everyone loves this person. I should love this person. What are you tuning into that's not evidentially clear from an outside perspective? Other people don't see it. Why are you wrong for having that response to that person?
Exactly.
Why would we? Because I have a feeling that my lived experience, at least, has been, and even with my clients, empathic people tend to take things on as if it's them that has a problem. And why am I reacting this way? What's wrong with me? As opposed to, because we don't want to feel anything negative. We don't want to not like somebody. So, of course, we're looking. There must be something wrong. I don't understand where this feeling is coming from. So we can intellectualize this, right? And I'm like a pro at intellectualizing things. And then there is a point where you just believe and you listen and you tune in and you get information which you cannot necessarily verify. But as you step into it more and more, you find out that it's wisdom.
I have to agree with that. There's some wisdom in there. It's some experience that you had.
What I have found is that tone, what's in someone's words, like it's beyond, like it has got information. There's information in there
It,
that you cannot communicate what that is. It's a feeling. You can try to describe it, but at the end of the day, it's your experience. It's in your body. It's in your psyche. Somebody else looking at that same person is not you. You
right.
have like finely tuned experiences that you bring forward, that you bring with you.
Mhm.
And, how you perceive energy is always going to be your own way, different from other people. So why not get really comfortable with what that is instead of second guessing, doubting, being upset about it? There's something wrong. It's not like how other people do it. Maybe I'm wrong. Like, no, that's got to stop.
Yeah, I love that about you, that you're just going, okay, you're okay the way you are.
We have to start with a certain baseline, otherwise, we're wrong.
And so, how did you start down this path? What brought you to create this empath evolution?
I did not know the word empath. I can give you a description of how I was when I was growing up. I was aware, I was watching, I was knowing things that I didn't know what they were. Like, it just, this doesn't feel right. That doesn't feel right. This person's this, that person's that. When I was really young, I really didn't know what any of this meant, but I knew enough at one point. I'm not going to tell people that I'm sensitive to anything they say because that will be perceived as weakness by the people around me. So I kept a real tight lid on I had a very rich inner life. Like I just was curious and watchful, right? Go forward to high school and I would come home and I would need to eat and gorge myself at times in order to feel better and energized from my day. Didn't know why. I could, look at my aunt and look at my grandmother and just kind of scrutinize their behavior a little bit. I was just watchful, very curious. You get to college, and what did I have? I had an eating disorder. Imagine that. All that from when I was younger turned into an eating disorder. I'm like, all right, we're going to take care of this, right? I learned a bunch of stuff, always very inquisitive. Took my first psychic development course in my 20s, loved it, right? Then, of course, you move forward, you meet the guy you're going to marry. I have my three kids, and I'm making do with my life. I'm making do. I'm like, I need quiet time. I need the kids to be relaxed. I need a break. It was easier to go to work than sometimes with the kids at home. It was a lot more at home. And I knew, I'm like, I'm not planning too many things on a weekend because I'm not having fun when there's too many things going on. Um,
Totally identify with all of that.
yeah, along the way, I noticed that I was moody. I was moody in my 20s and even my 30s. It's like, what is this thing? Is it, just my cycles? What is this? Oh, it's hormonal. It's got to be hormonal. So I kept on trying to figure out, but I never had a word for it. And then when I got to about 40, I met someone who changed my life forever because I could read this person inside and out. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how is it that I am able to read this so intimately? Like, and it feels amazing. And I just really got a different experience, I guess that's the only way to put it, of a friendship that felt so strong and so connected that I was like, wow. And then, the good part and the bad part. The bad part is I lost myself in the middle of that because it was just so strong. On the back end, I looked at it and I was like, I don't understand what the heck's going on. I don't understand what just happened to me. And that is not cool. Not cool at all. So then I started to really dig deeper because I basically, I don't say banished this person, but I cut off the relationship because it was that challenging for me. It was confusing for me to understand what was happening between us. So I set that aside and then I started looking for answers and I found sensitivity. I'm like, yeah, I'm sensitive. But then I found 30 traits of an empath. And when I found the 30 traits, I was like, oh, this is me. This has
Hmm.
always been me. You
Hmm.
mean other people don't have this knowing? You mean other people don't feel these things? Like in all my life, I've had people, they just share their worst stories with me.
Yeah, in the first 5 minutes of meeting them.
It's
And then
like,
I've had people turn around. Did you know that person? No, I just met them. What?
it's funny because I didn't mind it, but my husband's like, there's something wrong with you, Michelle. This is not normal. And I'm like, well, no, it's not normal, but I don't mind. Like oh, I feel like I'm privileged enough that they're sharing. And to me, it's a connection that's pretty cool that someone would feel that comfortable sharing this.
Right, you feel safe to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a trustworthiness. My husband actually has that too. He's got this trustworthiness. When we got back together after not seeing each other for so long, I just looked at him. I said, I just trust you. I know I can tell you anything. And we're in that kind of tuned thing where we're tuned with one another. But yes, exactly. So tell us more about your approach. You have this approach, what exactly you do, and how you guide leaders into this new way of thinking and leading by embracing their empathness.
Yeah. So, I look at the world and I look and around and we're all doing our best, right? We're
Yes.
all doing our best every day. The world's challenging this way, challenging that way. At the end of the day, I looked around and I'm like, there's a lot of people that are empaths and they know they're empaths. That's a very small margin that know. There's more of a margin of people that are very empathic or empaths that do not know what that word means or how it truly impacts them. So I look at the problems in the world and I look at mental health, wellness, all these things that are not going, chaos, drama, emotionality, reactivity, all these things that are normal parts of life. But when you're really in tune with yourself and you cherish or you appreciate or you want to feel good about yourself, and your body's got to, all of this has to feel good. Otherwise, you're going to find some sort of a coping mechanism that may or may not be healthy.
Like overeating or drinking or drugs or trying to drown out those voices.
True. It's like it's too much coming at you. And I think a lot of times most people will dumb down their emotions and even close them off, put them in the closet, and I don't ever want to look at you again. And because that whole emotional side of things is not something that we tell our sons to look at. As a matter of fact, that's not what we want from the men. We don't want them to show their emotions. And the women, it's about, oh, yes, you need to carry your emotions and everybody else's around you because you're the woman.
And men
Support.
are told it's okay to be mad, but nothing else.
There is
Yeah,
no education around what this is for us. So
correct.
when I can't come into this and I look around, I'm like, let's first of all start bringing some balance to how we lead. It's not supposed to be all logical. There's no way that it is. It's definitely at least 50% not logical. Like some of us are 50-50, other others are 80-20. But really to bring society into more of a balance and your life, yourself into more of harmony, you need to be able to look at both things. That's feeling yourself physically, mentally, like all of it comes together. It's not one dimension that you live in. Your body's not listening to your thoughts every second and listen. Your body is a feeling being. It's here. It's going to show you different things.
In fact, your posture and your facial expressions can shift your emotions. So
Yeah.
you're in tune. That's a two-way conversation, right? When you feel happy, you smile. But if you're not feeling happy at the moment, if you smile, you'll start to notice your mood shift almost immediately.
Isn't that fascinating? That
Very fascinating.
like we can't stay mad if you're laughing. You really
Correct.
can't stay mad, even though you might want to. My approach and what I've done, what I've cultivated is I'm pretty spiritual myself. I've got a pretty active spiritual body. And with that, it's activating other people in ways that they may or may not fully understand, but they're going to feel it. So the idea is to bring out the very best of a person, have them listen, follow, lead with feeling as opposed to thinking their way through everything, bringing that feeling, the wisdom of feeling into their life so they can flow with where they're going instead of let me just write out this path exactly because life is a dance. We're going to dance with life. I'm not doing surgery on you. This is not surgery where we're cutting in and we're fixing something. This is your mind. This is your emotions. This is the way you perceive and look. And how do we change those quote unquote vibrations that you're holding?
So actually, you're integrating people,
Yes.
right? I'm just thinking you're bringing them in, but you're integrating what they already have into their awareness so they're able to use it so they can be the best people they can be.
Teaching them to recognize they are not just moving through unconsciously. They,
Exactly. And then
they,
the other thing, but people don't realize, and I've heard this from salespeople, okay, this is just there, that people make buying decisions on emotion
yeah,
and then they back it up with logic.
yeah. Oh, always, always.
Always, right?
But isn't it interesting that at the end of the day, we need to be able to logically support a decision instead of saying, I just felt like it. I just love new things. Isn't
Yeah.
this a great thing that I just bought? We have to be able to substantiate, verify, prove that this was a great decision on our end, maybe just to ourselves even, but instead of saying, I'm buying a house because I just really want a house. Well, the market is good, and then this is that, and then this came up. Like, you just want a house. That's it. This is the
Yeah.
house.
Yes and
There-
no are full sentences. You don't need
Oh,
anything else beyond
right.
it.
It's almost like proving to somebody else or validating to somebody else or validating to yourself why this was such a great decision that you made. And you're absolutely right for making it. As if there's a right and a wrong. There's just what you want, right?
I had a woman explain to me one time why she had to get a divorce. And she
Oh
went
God.
through this whole litany of reasons. And I go, you know what? All you have to just say, I don't want this anymore. She goes, she turned around and looked at me and goes, that's revolutionary to her was she didn't need a logical reason. It's just, I don't want it.
It's sad that we don't know that we have permission to do that. Like, I feel
Exactly.
like we need to prove something to someone. We don't. Prove something to the world, prove that we're valued, prove that no, we don't need any of that. We just need to step forward and do what we do and then be happy with what we do. It's like Sabotage 101. We put all these things in our way in order for us to be doing it correctly, to be right. I know that when I would make decisions, and I never noticed this till I was maybe in my 30s, I'm like, why is it that when I make decisions, I don't really know what I'm doing until I get up close and personal. And then I feel what that is, and then I say yes or no. But I don't know till I can do a black and white list of logic. So sometimes some decisions for me are absolutely yes. I don't even think about it.
Yeah,
Others are absolutely no. Then the stuff in the middle, I'm like, I don't know what to do with you. I'm like, I'll make a list.
I've always done this. Whenever I'm making a decision, I'll just sit and talk it out with myself, and then I can make the decision. And from what I understand from human design, some people feel it in their gut, some people feel it in their stomach, some
Yep.
people, and for me, it's just if I hear it, then I know what to do.
Definitely. So the hearing part, one of the things around this whole journey that for me was just a breakthrough was listening to the tone and the way that I say things and what comes out tells me where I'm at and what I can trust and what I cannot trust.
That's awesome.
Just distinguishing because there's a lot of times when you're off kilter just a little bit. The way you're thinking is skewed. You're trying to find your way through, but things are muddied. Your lens is muddied. You're not seeing clearly what the truth is. Maybe a lot of this is subconscious to you. You don't know what's interfering, but something is in the way. So when you talk things aloud, you can, yes, reason with yourself. Yes, find a conclusion that works.
It's not reasoning. It's just, is this
Dialogue.
the right thing for me to do?
Yes.
And then the answer will say yes or no, right? It's just, I have to hear it,
Answer
right?
will say yes or no. You'll hear the answer in your head.
Yeah, I'll hear the answer in my head.
A lot of that is the psychic thing, the
Yeah,
ability to be able to hear and to trust what you're hearing. Because if you undermine what you heard,
that's right.
you'd be nowhere. Like,
Exactly.
yeah,
And I grew up in a household where we were told how to feel, how to think, how to be. You have to be polite no matter what, even if that person is mean to you. Men are right, women are wrong. It was
it's
terrible.
ridiculous. It's ridiculous. That is where a lot of us have grown up,
Yep,
whether
it
they said
was
it plain
very
to
Greek.
you.
I grew up in a big fat Greek family and it's very male oriented.
Yep,
And if I had grown up in Greece, I would have not had the career that I had. This just would have been impossible.
that's true.
Yeah.
That's
So I'm happy that I was able to break free from that.
You are here in the US, so there are opportunities here that are not there.
My wake up to the reality moment, my epiphany was when I was so sick. I only had 2 good hours a day, and I had a husband just like my mom who suppressed me all the time. And I
Yep.
was so sick. And then I just said, is it him or is it me? I choose me. From then on, I made decisions based on what I wanted and not what they wanted. 40, that's the magic age.
It sure is. It
It's the
sure is.
magic age for a lot of women because what happens before then, we're flooded with estrogen, and I call estrogen the compliance hormone.
Mm,
Like, we want to get along with everybody. We're going to raise our children. We got to have a husband who's there, and you put up with it. And then when you turn 40, you're going, what? No, I have to have an identity too. And I'm not giving up my identity and my life for that. And
yeah.
so that's why I became a healer, is that.
Well, you became a healer too because you tried the traditional route.
Yes.
That did not lead you to
No.
anything good for your life.
Yeah, I
It
healed myself when
well.
doctors couldn't.
Yep,
Yes, exactly.
absolutely. I think it's interesting with the estrogen thing. I was almost married before I was married to my husband. I almost married at 22. And that wedding, I ended 2 months before my wedding. One day, I did not like what he said to me. And we had been arguing. I do not do well with arguing. That's another trait.
Yeah,
I
me neither.
cannot do it. Cannot do it very well at all.
Yeah, I walk away from it. I
Yeah.
just, if you can't talk to me like a reasonable human being, I'm out of here.
Well, I don't do fighting is very draining to me. And
Yeah.
and it just came to a point what he said, I've had it like I went to church that morning and I looked up and I'm like in my head, am I going to do this? What? And all I heard back was, you'll be divorced in 2 years.
See,
Like,
you do that talking thing too.
oh, absolutely. And I'm like, I'll be damned. I'm like, All right. Well, you know what? There's only 2 months left till I get married. What am I going to do? Walk down the aisle knowing that it was that clear in that moment and God helped me in that moment? I'm more spiritual than religious when I say that, but in my head, I'm like, I just need to do what I need to do. It was like I didn't think through tomorrow. I just did. I went to his house. Here you go. I'll see you later. I'm like, and it was done. And my mother's like, what did you do? My brother's like, what did you do? I'm like, leave me alone. I'm like, I just need to cry now. And I'm like, it's done.
It's better to stop now
Yeah.
than to go through with it because it's much harder afterwards. That takes a lot of courage.
It takes a lot of courage in that moment. I broke it off with him and everything kind of fell. Everybody was in shock. It's done, right? But then I wasn't quite, it was like someone just cut this with a scissors without me even being slightly prepared. I didn't plan it ahead. I didn't think it ahead. I just did based on that moment. And I ended up retrying things. You know how people go back and forth, they come together, so we did that a couple times more. And but at least this time I wasn't engaged. I didn't have this deadline of this date that we were getting married at. So to me, the lesson was, my God, I was upset. I actually love a man that I cannot be married to. Who does that? This gone this long, and I love him, but marriage is not in the cards. So it was heartbreaking to say goodbye to somebody that you loved, but he wasn't going to be the mate that you needed him to be.
Yes, I actually, when I was 21, I did get married, and 2 years later, we were divorced. So I actually went through it because I didn't have the courage to, because I kept telling everybody, I don't think I should marry him. And they go, oh, what do you mean? He's a good guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yes. So you were much braver than I was.
I don't want to say a low tolerance, but I have a pretty strong personality. So
No
I remember
kidding.
at one point I said, so after I was done with this man and I'm dating, I'm like, none of these men are going to work. This is me. I'm like, I'm not meeting anybody that I think is worth any of my time. And I'm driving the car and I'm talking to myself. I'm like, if you don't bring me somebody good, easy. I am not getting married. This is allowed. I am not getting married because I don't need to be in that position where I'm miserable. I'd rather be by myself than miserable with a man. And I think it was a couple weeks later I met my husband and he was easy button. He was easy button. I'm like, it's not fighting. It's not any of those things. It's just an easy relationship. I mean, my
That's the same with me, but it took me 20 years to find him.
well, you had found him, then you let him go.
Well, that was only 17 when I let him go.
Yeah. So what are you doing? 17. I know. I get it. I get it. Oh,
I had big plans.
yeah. Well, we all have plans until our best plans are changed. Things shift in a different direction.
Yeah, well, I knew I was going to get my doctorate before I entered college. Here's this guy who was getting too serious too fast. And I said, no, 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 no.
Oh, that was him. He was doing that.
Yes.
Oh, oh, yeah.
Yeah, he told me I broke his heart back then, but he forgave me later.
Was he married as well as you?
When we found each other again, he had been a widower for 3 years and he was not very healthy. He was 80 pounds overweight and just living his life out. And he figured he was going to die soon. He didn't expect to meet anybody. And now he's lost all those 80 pounds. He's slender and healthier than ever. He had to go through a quadruple bypass in the
Ooh.
meantime, but he's lost all that weight and he's just like you were saying, the easy button. We don't have arguments. We inform each other. It's so easy. And he'll look at me, he goes, why do people have so much trouble in relationships? Because we don't. We have zero, zero trouble.
I don't think I could do it, to be honest with you. I don't think I could do anything but what I have because As much as I could love a person, if I'm going to fight with you, it's a slow erosion of that love because you're taking away my peace of mind, my sanity.
So, who's your ideal client? Who benefits most from this approach?
Listen, I think it's a person like me, empathic, driven, creative, who's looking to be more fully empowered with how they show up, to understand who they are and how they function, and to get that validation. They have to have that drive and desire. Not everybody wants to improve themselves. So
No.
not everybody does. Sometimes I'd be like, oh, it's people that are struggling with some sort of emotional pain, but it's beyond that. It's the person that wants to understand more, wants to be fully, I don't say activated is not an easy
Well, how
word.
about they're tired of how they feel now and they want to move past it and they don't really know how to get out of it?
How to elevate the way they're feeling and step into something that's more powerful.
Yeah, to
And
step into something more powerful. Not everybody, some people are attached to their pain
yeah,
because they have it as something to anchor themselves and they're holding on to the pain because they get a lot of sympathy from other people. And so they'll identify. I met this woman, she says, I'm a damaged child of alcoholics. And I said to her, so what did that give you? Oh, it just ruined me emotionally. I go, but to me, you look like a very strong woman and you're
Mhm.
raising your children in a different way. Oh, yes, absolutely. So you
it
wanted to move past it. So move past it. This was
it's
a
giving
much
it
longer conversation, but that's kind of the gist of it.
yeah, the gist of it is you can keep yourself in a certain place through exactly the way you think and the way you see it. If you don't see outside of that,
Hmm.
if you don't have the vision and the drive to see outside of that, that you are something more than the conditions of which you were raised and the labels of which you received, if you don't have that inner knowing that there's something more for you, let me find that out.
Yeah,
Let, you
it's
know,
the spark, inner spark. We all have this, I call it the divine spark that's within us,
yep.
that we deserve nothing but the best and all of it, and to have the expectation that you're going to get the best. And some people have tried to extinguish it because they've lived their life a different way and haven't realized that they can actually be relaxed, happy, and joyful in their relationships.
It's almost like the lights are out.
Yes.
The lights are out in certain ways. They've just kind of succumbed to whatever it is.
Mhm.
They don't see where something could be different from what it is in front
Yeah, a
of them.
lot of times that really makes me cry to see people
Yeah.
suffering that much unnecessarily.
Unnecessarily, but they're not looking for a solution. They're just kind of acquiescing to what it is. And really, the client that's going to work for me understands that there's something more that's out there that they want to become and step into. They see the disparities around them. They see the people that are running around in circles, and they just need more people on their team, more people beside them in their community to help show them what that could look like, because there's so much of the world that's operating in a
Yeah,
day. Yeah.
not living into the reality of life that we're all divine beings and that we have the ability to be joyful, happy, and free,
Joyful, happy, and free, and impactful.
impactful. Yes.
Impactful. You're intelligent. You have knowledge. You have the ability to impact the direct people in your family, in
Hmm.
your community. The way you step into the world in any room impacts other people. So
Yes.
it's that ability to look beyond just the regular and the mundane and the typical things in life, to want to do something a little bit more with yourself because you know and you sense and you feel that there's more needed in the world.
Yes, it's just like in the Heart Math Institute, they've shown that your emotions radiate out at least 20 to 25 feet.
Yep.
And if you're feeling joyful, you spread joy because it's a much higher frequency than anger or depression or guilt. And it spreads to
Permeate.
other
It
people.
permeates. It permeates. It sure
It
does.
permeates everybody.
So
And
the more of us that are activated and truly embracing and truly being who we are, the more good can happen in the world.
I
The more,
completely agree.
yeah.
I've heard you talk about the 5 pillars within your work. Can you walk us through them really quickly?
Sure, sure. My 5 pillars are feeling, healing, being, becoming, and allowing. All right, so let me explain them. Feeling is the ability to tune into what you're feeling within yourself and around you. It's huge, it's key. All right, it's feminine, the feminine energy within men or women. We need to step back into what that is. Feeling, healing. Now, that's a broader term. What are you healing? You're healing dysfunction. You're healing separating yourself from
Mhm.
other people. You're healing things that have hurt you in the past. It's like a release, the healing. Then the next ones are being. Who are you being today? Who are you showing up as? That being is not necessarily about acting, it's about being. Who are you being? Who are
Mhm.
you becoming? When you really look at life, every single day is your graceful moment to become the next version of who you are. It's beautiful when you look at it that way. Life is not mundane. Life is not boring. You're becoming
Yes, always. One
always.
moment to the next. We're never finished products.
No. And the last part is allowing, allowing whether it is a challenging emotion, a challenging person, things you agree with, things you don't agree with, allowing others to do what they do and allowing yourself that same grace to do what you need to do. It's not about forcing, it's about allowing. So, those are my 5 pillars, which really encompass everything that Empath Evolution is here to bring to the table.
I think they're awesome. I never thought of them that way, but I love it.
Thank you. Yeah.
So you're launching something really exciting soon, a small, intimate program called Expansion to Joy. And what inspired you to create this program and what can participants expect?
So, what inspired me is the fact that I have all this knowledge and I have all this want to see people shift from the inside out, from the inside out. And so, expansion to joy was a word given to me a long time ago. It is the result. You expand into a bigger version of yourself, and you are an expression of joy in doing that, whatever it is that you decide to do in your life. You show up as that.
I just have a little
Yeah,
period to put in the end of that. Whenever I connect to spirits on the other side, they're always joyful and they're fun and they're funny. They're not
they're
they're
not
not all
serious.
these serious. It's not serious. Joyful joy is such a high frequency emotion. It's about as high as you can get and still have an ego to stay alive. Like we can't exist at that fully, what do you call, fully enlightened place. You can't. You have to have an ego in order, you have to feed yourself and you have to, right,
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
house yourself and clothe yourself. So you need a bit of an ego, but you can live in joy all the time.
We actually can. It is a challenge. I will say that. It is a challenge with what we have going on around us. So there is
Yeah.
more to be considered, but
The more people we inspire into joy, the less of that will start
yeah,
happening.
yes, the more people consciously are going to choose joy. And it's about really holding on to what is you and making sure that shows up every day.
Yes.
'Cause-
And when you're the only one in your family that's moving into that space, what'll happen is they'll all go, I want what she's having. and they'll start shifting too. That's happened in my family.
Well, they'll either try to bring you down
Yeah, or ignore you.
or ignore you. And eventually, what you have seeps into them more and they start seeing it. But
Yeah.
it's not by design that you're forcing it on them, it's
No,
by you
it's
just being who you are.
right.
That's it.
It's the I want what she's having.
Right. So it's us having fun with what this is instead of feeling like we need to hide it. We need permission to show up as that. The authenticity factor is about really having the courage to be who you are without apology, without looking for approval from anybody. Who are you? Who are you being? Who are you becoming? Are you showing people who that is? Because the moment you show somebody your heart, they're like, oh, now they know you.
And they even trust you and will open up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of you as that empathic person knowing how to hold that space and how to be this amazing feeling inside permeates you and it's you're holding space and it's not taking you down to be there for other people because your energy is that strong already.
So, for
What
those listening who feel called to step into this work with you, how can they learn more about your program or private mentorship opportunities?
what I recommend is you email me, Michelle at empathevolution.com, because I
Yeah, and
can
I'll
give
put all of this information in the show notes so people can just go to
yeah,
helpinghealersucceed.com and
yeah,
find out and get all of that information.
yep. I mean, I could give you a web page, but I think it's a little easier when I'm having a conversation and really being able to explain directly and see what it is that that person is saying, what it is that they're needing, so I can bridge the conversation and explain
Yeah,
it.
and whether it's appropriate for them or not.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, Michelle, this has been such an enlightening conversation, and I love how you blend personal transformation with leadership, making it about alignment rather than achievement. In fact, I just want to let people know that Michelle and I are planning to do a series of these, and it's going to be called Beyond Logic. And that's what this is. We're going beyond logic, right? Before we go, I want to highlight one more time that your upcoming cohort is designed for those ready to break free from conventional leadership. In other words, beyond logic, and step into a more fulfilling way of leading and living. So, can you leave us with one final thought? What's the biggest shift people experience when they step into this work with you?
The biggest thing I've seen is that they start seeing the light in everybody around them and in within themselves. They start just really being honored to have and to be who they are.
I love that.
Yeah.
I really love that. And I've seen a lot of the amazing testimonials on your website of people that finally feel alive, awake, and themselves instead of suppressing that part of you. I know being a scientist, I had to suppress that thing and I just never could. Like I would go to meetings and everybody would talk about their research and I go, "Oh, how are your kids? How's your wife?"
Well, 'cause those are the things you're interested in. It's beyond the superficial. It's really beyond
I
that.
think it's just going back to being having the kind of wide-eyed wonder that little children have, right? You
Yeah,
experience life from that joyful perspective.
it's priceless. We could have the most, I don't want to say accomplished life. Accomplishment is not a bad thing. Accomplishment is good, except that it can be limiting when that's all you're chasing. And you're not
Exactly.
living, you're chasing it, you're accomplishing it, but what is it that, what did you miss while you were accomplishing all these things? Well, because life is more than one thing, and not everybody is made for all of these. Everyone's made a little different, so I respect that, their goal, their desire. But at the end of the day, on someone's deathbed, they're not telling you that they wish they had written more science reports, they had published more things. They're saying how they wish they had more time to spend with this person, or that they really love that other person. It's coming into the yin and the yang of life and really honoring this opportunity, because at some point, mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, you are all those things. If you just excelled at some physical level,
You're out of balance.
hello, okay, nice to see you. Go back down, go do it again. Find a better way of making this work. When people run into issues, whether it's career, family, marriages, relationships, those are all important aspects of your life.
Exactly. And one shouldn't be neglected for the other.
No, it's an avoidance. It's I'm good at this, so I'm going to do this thing. But it's not the flavor of what you want to leave behind, because our lives are set. We're not here forever.
Nope.
And before you know it, you turn around and, oh,
Yeah,
my time came and my time went.
I know. When I think about being 72, I'm going, whoa, where did
That-
it go?
Oh, that's not me. Like, yes, I know.
I
I
look
know.
in the mirror. Am I really 72?
I know. Just don't pay attention to the
I
number.
don't. I don't. I'm just so happy to be alive. Like every morning I take deep breaths and I'm going, wow, it just feels really great to be here. And everything starts to come alive. It's awesome.
It's an appreciation for life. I don't think we had this when we were 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 even.
At about the age of 20, between 20 and 30, you still think you're immortal
Yeah.
and you don't realize that your life can end. And then it was, for me, the year was when I turned 33. And I'm going, wait, I'm getting old. And some days I go, yeah, that would be nice to be 33 again. Right?
If I knew at 33 and what I know now, but back then, my life was so full with so many other things.
Yes,
I
raising
didn't
children.
I didn't have the bandwidth or the even the direction to looking at. There's too many other things happening in front of me. So it's like a building up of who you're becoming all along the way,
Yes.
which is
So,
beautiful.
Michelle, we've been
Yes.
going for quite some time. So I love all your perspectives. Thank you so much for sharing them and for people to connect with you, to email you at
Evelyn.
michelle@empathevolution.com. And I'll put that in the show notes.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you
All
for
right.
having me. Thank you.
You're welcome. Don't forget to give this broadcast a thumbs up or 5-star rating. Share it with your friends and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss the next episode on helping you succeed. Thank you for tuning in to Helping Healers Succeed podcast. You'll find resources and show notes on our website at helpinghealerssucceed.com. Until next time, I'm Dr. Anastasia Chopelas, sending you golden healing light and success vibes on your journey to becoming a powerful, confident healer, coach, or intuitive. Remember, your gifts are so needed in this world.